Now, there might be times when you want to specify a type onto a variable. Now, this can be done by using casting. So we call this casting. Now, Python is a object-oriented language, which means that it uses classes to define different data types. So let's take a few examples. If I say that x is equal to int1, then essentially what we're doing is we are saying that x will be 1. If we say that y is equal to int 2.8, then this means that y will not be equal to 2.8, but y will be equal to 2 because 2.8 is a float, but 2 is an integer without the decimal point. And even if we say that z is equal to int and I write 3 inside a double quote, despite the fact that 3 is a string, because we have casted it inside an integer, z here will be considered as the number 3. So let me print the type of x and y and z, and the result will come as int, int, and int. So all the three come as an integer, despite the fact that the first one was an integer, the second one was a float, and the third one was a string. All right, let's look at Python strings. Python strings can have a double quote or a single quote, which means that I can either write hello with a double quote, or I can also write hello with a single quote. Both of these are correct. So the result comes as hello and hello. We've already seen that to assign a value to a variable, we can simply write the equal sign, and if we say print a, then the result comes as, I'm sorry, let me put this inside parentheses, and the result comes as hello. But what do you do if you want to write multi-line strings? To do this, you will have to use 3 double quotes. For example, if I write a is equal to, just watch, 1, 2, 3, okay? And we can write whatever we want. Let me break it into a different line, then one more line, and then one final time, and we put 1, 2, and 3. Now if I say print a, we get the result like this. But remember, this will have to be 3 quotes. Obviously, it can be 3 single quotes like this as well. That will also work. Now do remember that strings are arrays. So arrays, you can just Google it. So arrays in programming is a very important topic, and you can just go to any link to understand how arrays work for any programming language. The idea here is that, for example, if you have 5 numbers with you, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you want to store them inside a single variable, then obviously you're not going to keep 5 variables differently, right? So you can put it inside an array, which is nothing but a combination of different variables inside it. So in our example, Python does not have a character data type, which means that a single character is simply a string with a length of 1. For example, if I say that a is equal to hello world, and then we say print, watch carefully, I'm writing the variable name, and then in brackets we're writing 1, the result will come as E. This means that it is the second character. The reason 1 is the second character is because the first character will always start from an index value of 0. For example, if I had written 0 here, then the result would have been H, right? But what do you do if you want to slice the data? Which means that rather than looking at a specific character, you want to return a range of characters, which means you need the starting index and the end index. So let's say that B is equal to hello world. If I write print B and we put 2:5, this means that we want all the characters from the second position till the fifth position, and the result will come as LLO. Remember, 0 and 1 would be H and E. So LLO would be the second, third, and the fourth position. Or I'm sorry, it will be the second, third, and the fourth position excluding 5. So I'll just mention that here. So 5 is always excluded. That means the last value that you have written will always be excluded. Now you can also do something called negative indexing. This means that if you have written B is equal to hello world, we can write print B and we can say -5 colon -2, and I'm sure you would have got it. It is going to pick up the characters from the right and not from the left. To find the length is very simple. If you want to find the length, you can simply write, let's say A is equal to hello, and if I want to find the length, we can say print length of A, and it will tell me that the length is total 5 characters. Now Python also has a set of inbuilt methods that you can use on strings. For example, if you have written that A is equal to hello world and I use a method called strip. So that would be A dot strip. The result would be hello world. Now you would be wondering what's happening, but here's the point. Imagine you had some extra white spaces like this and you wanted to remove that. You notice that A dot strip will actually remove all those white spaces. So we are removing the extra white spaces. Then there are other simple methods. For example, we can write, let me just copy this. All right. So here we can write print A dot upper, and that will convert it into an uppercase. So we get hello world in uppercase. You also have a replace, for example. So if I have A is equal to hello world and we want to replace a character. So let's say we want to replace H with J. So I can say that H has to be replaced with J and the result will have H replaced with a J. You can also use a method to split the string into substrings. For example, if I said hello and then we say how are you doing, and if we then say print A dot split, right now the split is going to be the space, so I'm going to put a space inside double quotes and the result is going to be hello, how are you doing? So all the 5 words have been split into different substrings. If you want to check if a certain phrase or character is present in a string, you can use the method called in. For example, imagine the text is the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. And if we say that x is equal to AIN in txt, and if I print x, it's going to give me a true because it is checking that the 3 letters AIN is featuring somewhere inside my text string. But for example, if I was searching for, let's say 1, 2, 3, then the result would have been a false, like this. The opposite of this would be to use not in. So let me just copy this. And if I say not in, then it does the opposite. It gives me a false, which means that the three letters AIN is definitely present within our text. Like I'd shown you earlier, concatenation is very simple. So if you want to concatenate, let's say A is equal to hello and B is equal to world, we can simply say that C is equal to A plus B and the result will come as hello world. If you want to put a space, remember you can just add a space like this and the result will have a space in it. Okay, let's see what else I can show you. All right, now let's say you want to combine a string and a number. Remember, we can't do this using a simple plus. So if we say that the age is 33 and the text is, let's say, name is Havish. So look carefully what I'm going to do. I can use a format method, right? Which means that we are putting these curly braces, right? And we can say and age is, and we keep this curly braces intact within the text string. So when I write print txt, we can then say dot format, and in the format we can choose the age variable, and the result will come like this. So do practice this a few times to understand it. In fact, I'll give you another example. Now, format can obviously include an unlimited number of arguments, and they take the place of the respective placeholders. For example, if we say that quantity is equal to 5, and we say that the item number is equal to any number, let's say 987, and the price is equal to a float. So we say 56.58. We can then say that my order is equal to, so I want, you open and close a curly brace, pieces of items, then you have the curly brace for the item number, and then for another curly brace and dollars. So remember, we have kept three placeholders here because we have three different variables with us: quantity, item number, and the price. How will we get the final result? Now we can say print my order dot format, and in this we can simply choose the order, which is quantity, the item number, and then the price. And once we have done this, the result will come as I want 5 pieces of item 987 for $56.58, like this. You can even use an index number so that you're sure that the arguments are placed in the correct placeholder. For example, I'm just going to copy this one more time. Now, what I can do is we can put the number 2 and we can put of item 0 and then we can say 1, right? And you notice the result comes as I want 56.58 pieces of item 5 for $987. So let me just make sure that I've done this correctly. 1 second. Okay, so let me show it to you like this. If I make it 0, 1 and 2, you notice the result comes as I want 5 pieces of item 987. Fair enough. But if I interchange the position and if I say 1 and 0, you notice the result changes. Now it gives me the item number before, and then we get the 0, which is the quantity that comes later. Now this can be very handy when you have a very large number of variables with you. Like in this case, it is not required because we only have 3 variables, but imagine you had a lot of variables with you. In that case, this might have been very, very useful. All right. What else can I show you? Okay, so maybe you want to insert a character that is illegal in a string. So I'm just going to say insert illegal characters. For example, if you say txt is equal to, we are the so-called Vikings from the north. Now my problem here is that the word Vikings should not be written inside my text string, and I want to escape from this. To do this, very simple, we will say, watch carefully, after so-called I'll put a slash and then put Vikings inside a slash and double quotes. Okay, so now when we print txt, you will notice the result is coming like this. So it's not working correctly. Let me just check what is the mistake that we have made here. One second. So I put the slash here. I think we need to have a space. Okay, my mistake. We need to have a space here, and that is also not working. One second. Okay, that's strange. It looks okay to me. You know what? Let's just ignore this for now. We will come back to this a little later. So, like I said earlier, there are lots of different methods available for strings. So, if you want to find them out, you can simply say Python string methods. And like I showed you a few of them, I showed you um, replace and in and uppercase. Just like that, you can see that there are different methods like this that are available. Excellent. So we had a long lecture. In the next lecture, we will see how we work with booleans and operators.